Hello and welcome to Audiogyan. Today we have Aditya Sorap with us to have some Gyan session on sound design. With more than 12 years of experience as sound recordist and engineer, Aditya owns a recording studio in Dadar, where we are currently recording this. He has mainly worked as a sound designer for countless movies, TV commercials, radio programs, jingles, and animation. Few of his main clients are channels like Warner Brothers, Disney, and Nickelodeon. Thanks, Aditya, for giving us your time. I'll directly get into our conversation. So, the first and foremost is I would like to know what is sound design?
Sound design. Well, what is sound design? Sound design is basically designing something that you can see on the screen, which has been shot. But when you actually edit it and when you get a final video, that time what you get is just a plain video. You don't get anything sound that is captured there out there. For example, if you're on a highway, or if you're or if you're in a jungle, or if you're in a tiger chase scene,
Hmm.
what happens is that what we get is just one video.
Okay.
So if we catch a tiger chase scene, let's catch Jungle Book. Okay, the ambient sounds of a jungle,
Hmm.
the wind sound, the sound of the footsteps. Like now, for example, Mowgli is running, dry leaves,
Hmm.
water.
Hmm.
If he's running on rocks, so everything will have a different tone.
Okay.
So everything has been recreated. The sounds of the tiger. His sounds are to be generated because when this movie will be dubbed in different languages, the tiger sound has to remain the same. And when this entire thing is being created and when it is put onto visual, then we say ki yes, for the visual, a particular sound is been designed to match the visual. So that is exactly sound design.
Okay. But then, like when it comes to sync sound cameras, wherever things are really captured on the set, still it needs sound design?
Yes, it does partial. It does need partial sound design because the sync sound mics
Mm-hmm.
are usually for capturing the dialogue and not the other ambience. So only your pilot language remains in the sync sound,
Hmm.
and everything else has been designed.
The way ambience sound is introduced, sometimes the challenge is also to remove it, right?
Absolutely, because technically, if we now speak, there are a lot of mics which will only capture the sound of you
Hmm.
and not the other ambience.
Okay.
So they are very close proximity mics. Only when you start speaking, the mic goes on.
Turns on.
So now that's a bit of a technical thing, which is like it's called gating.
Cool. In fact, that puts me in the second question, which is like since you mentioned about Jungle Book and those things, what kind of spectrum does this sound recording industry cover?
Well, sound design is required, I would say, almost everywhere.
Hmm.
Now, if you ask about sound recording spectrum, yes, this is widely classified studio sound and live sound.
Mm-hmm.
Live sound has got two categories. One is on-set sound, that is location sound for shoots,
Mm-hmm.
where sync sound comes in,
Mm-hmm.
where normal pilot capturing, like whatever is happening in the video, the same thing is captured where there's no quality requirement, just information of how clear the word is being spoken.
Hmm.
Next is your bands, shows, performances, live orchestras. That is another. It's called
Domain.
sound reinforcement. Yeah, domain on external sound.
Uh-huh.
Nowadays there is DJing, and I won't say nowadays. It's been quite some time now. DJing. So DJing is another spectrum of sound.
Uh-huh.
Internal sound, I mean, I would say studio recording sound is basically dubbing, doing the sound design of any corporate audiovisual. You go
Okay.
to a hospital, you go to a bank, you go to a factory. So the videos which we shoot there are being edited, come back to us. We redesign the entire sound, put in some effects, put in some music, put in some. Suppose if there's a machine sound, so we would really recapture that sound again and put it on the visuals to sync it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, then there is okay. Then there's one wonderful thing about sound is where there's no video. It's called radio spots, radio programs, and I would say radio plays.
Mm-hmm.
That is really fun to do because there is no visual. Radio plays is something that you actually close your eyes and you can just get the entire ambience right from the people talking to what is happening in that particular situation. It's
You create the space around.
Yes, we create the space around, rightly said by you. If at all the characters are in the garden, so you would keep a garden ambience. If the characters go down to a mall, you give a shopping mall. And then there are these small things about the doorbell, the door, the pans or the utensils. You create that. That is real sound design where you perceive something of happening, but visually there is nothing in front of you. So that's really fun to do, and the more creative it gets, the more fun it is.
Yeah. And I'm sure that must be very challenging as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Can you slightly more tell us about what are the challenges of being a sound recordist or a sound designer?
Designing something as close to the original. We create we create mock design. The shooting, if at all it has been shown in the shot that it is near a railway station. But actually when you go inside the house of a particular, like if it's a story that it's an internal scene of the house scene, now that is not near the station, that is somewhere else in some shooting floor. But now if you want to show that a train passes by, then you do a mock sound where you actually show through sound that the person is living near the station, or probably near a mosque or near a temple, where the temple bell rings or the mosque azan, the azan comes in. So we create a mock ambience.
That's really cool. So, in this process, what kind of artists or people do whom you interact with?
Well, I would say in sound recording, there are again, as an artist point of view, there are two types of artists. I would say one set of artists who are musicians, and one set of artists who are voiceover artists, and one set of artists who are sound design and foley.
But then, do you need to understand a lot of things around this?
A recordist should know music. He might not be able to play the instrument, but he should know what is
Meter.
the meter of the song, the time signature, the key of the song, what key is off note, what is perfectly sung. So maybe he's not a singer, but he should be able to tell that it's wrong here, or fine, you can probably go a bit further away from the mic and take it a bit loudly so you can probably hit the note. So that's with musicians and singers. In dubbing artists, it is a bit different. So dubbing artist has to be him, because he has to match his style of talking and acting.
Yeah,
And he has to get that into his voice and into his speech and into his vocab.
correct.
So I would say that dubbing is also a challenge, where it's a very simple thing to tell you. We see a lot of mimicry artists. What are they? They are just being that person.
Correct.
But mimicry is something that, okay, you know that we are mimicking some Hollywood actor or some Bollywood actor. But is it so easy to mimic me? No, it's not. Is it so easy to mimic you? No. We know Bollywood actors how they talk. Any normal common man, how will you just mimic out of the blue?
Correct.
No. So it's an art.
Oh,
You get it? So you have to see the character, how he would sound, where he takes his pauses, what are his enunciations of his speech, how not clear he is, I would say. See, when you're doing a voiceover or something, you have to just be clear, but how not clear he is. So that is that human error, that particular actor has.
Correct.
So this is something that a dubbing artist does.
Any particular incident you remember while working with a celebrity or a director where it was like really like tactical to handle the situation?
Yes, it had happened once when I was doing these two films of the same director, and the director used to come at 7 a.m. in the morning, and like, well, he was quite a senior person, so 7 a.m. we used to rub till 2 o'clock in the night, but again at 7 a.m. he used to come, but there were other artists who couldn't come. So at this time, then as being a recordist, I have to be on the job. So Corridor 7 has to come down and come down to the studio and sit. And as these guys couldn't come on time, then now, well, being a director, senior person, they used to start showing the previous work. Then from that they start removing, like, this is not right, this is not right, that is not right. So at that time we have to take a charge, telling ki, sir, fine, this is at that time it was right.
Mm-hmm.
Try to see it on the whole. If you see one thing at a time, you'll always not like it, because as we just said, it's a subjective line.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever is right for you might not be right for me.
Mm-hmm.
So lot of times, basically, it's handling people.
Yeah,
Otherwise, the
that's
buttons are the same. I feel the same button does multiple things. Like, that's what. Yeah.
yeah. Mm-hmm. The next one is actually in the 60s, 70s, and the 80s when the recording artist used to come into the booth. Um, Everything was organized and everyone used to do it together. Um, and with the new technology, what do you think is the quality in or the emotional quotient of the song, uh, or a particular dialogue or anything which you are doing right now, has it decreased or has it improved over time?
Technically, they have improved,
Mm-hmm.
but where the feel and the nostalgia factor is concerned, it is going down to the dogs.
Okay.
I feel technology has pampered an artist,
Uh-huh.
because we have a control Z now. Then there was no control Z.
Correct.
So then recording used to happen in a very different way. The musicians used to come together. Everybody had their own heart and soul put into the instrument that they're playing.
Mm-hmm.
There used to be dummy singers who would sing on the main singer's behalf. And there used to be rehearsals for 3, 3, 4 days, 5 days, 15 days, 20 days, until the song is not been really good. So
Mm-hmm.
everybody has got the same synergy
Mm-hmm.
that is happening. The recordists, the musicians, the music director, the producers, and everybody. It was like a fun thing. Of course, I really don't belong to that era, but whatever I've heard from the veterans, I've always, like, I really wish I was there.
Mm-hmm.
And then the final day is to happen when the recording is to happen. And once the recording is to start, unless the song doesn't end, it was one shot.
Wow.
So probably they must be taking about 4 5 different takes of a
Takes.
particular song,
Huh.
and they must be choosing out of it.
Uh-huh.
Whereas now, as we've got the support, or I would say we are dependent on technology,
Mm-hmm.
and it's no longer supporting now. It's just a dependency now.
Mm-hmm.
So now, what happens that every section of music, like strings or the rhythm section or the brass section or whichever section of what you hear in a song, comes separately and records it.
Mm-hmm.
Now no longer everybody's together. If we wanted 10 violinists, we had 10 violinists. Now we just call 5 and tell them to play twice.
Mm-hmm.
You get
Correct.
it?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now it's all cost cutting. It's like competition, and that whole synergy bit is really lacking now.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel bad about it, but then, well, now that's what
Yeah,
how
that's how
things.
we evolve. Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's how we have evolved now. The creativity sometimes is being
Is
sidelined.
correct.
So
Mm-hmm.
we have to somewhere draw, like, no, boss, not below this.
Mm-hmm.
Either play it today, or like dub it today, or else let's do it some other time.
Mm-hmm.
We have to get blunt sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It's not happening today.
Mm-hmm. So, what kind of skill set one requires to get into this field?
It's a creative line.
Mm-hmm.
Creativity cannot be taught. Learning is a different thing, and when you actually are out of a certain academy or some
Course or
course, then is actually where you start learning things on your own, or when you start developing. And
mm-hmm.
as I say, creativity has to be developed.
Mm-hmm.
It cannot be taught.
Mm-hmm.
You are being taught all the technicalities of sound, of the different effects, the processors, the workstations. But when you're out,
Mm-hmm.
that is the time when actually everything starts, where you start experimenting. The
Mm-hmm.
more it's self-learning.
Mm-hmm.
I would creativity, acting, painting, drawing. Same way, sound designing is self-learning.
No, but I wanted to ask, say, for example, in classical music, if you get into it, typical Guru Shishya tradition style, the Guru will say probably like at least 15 to 20 years for you to perform or for you to understand the nuances. Similarly, is there a time frame here, or it depends on?
Well, of course, it definitely depends on the person who's doing it, how passionate he is about doing his work.
Hmm.
Well, I feel 3 to 4 years is enough for you to get a hang of the workstation that you are on,
Mm-hmm.
and get a hang of how to talk to the people whom you're dealing with, because not just the workstation, you should know how to deal with the people who are working with you also.
Okay. Yeah,
So
that's.
yeah, that only comes with experience, I would say. Like today I'm 12 years in the line, and today the goodwill that we have earned is just out of how well I have tried, or well I have been with people in my past.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I feel 3 to 4 years is good for the workstation, and then later getting your own jobs and stuff. Yes, it takes about 5 to 6 years. And after all, again I would say, as it's a creative line, it's luck.
Mm-hmm.
How much your, how much the universe or the luck is right beside you,
Mm-hmm.
it all decides.
Cool. Yeah, thanks, Aditya. One last question is any tip slash advice you would like to give to uh, like people or students who wish to get into this line, or uh, like understand what is sound design and get into this profession?
It's definitely a very wonderful line. There is no much. I would say, if you're going to do the studio line, it's a very nice line. You can
Hmm.
always think of getting here. Listen to a lot of music. Be an actor.
Mm-hmm.
Be creative. Try to see things from a different angle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how can you create something out of nothing?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I feel that every person should, who wants to get into the line, should do. And yes, keep uh, keep yourself technologically very savvy, because yes, you have to be really good at technology nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot say ki, well, I'm like trained on a Windows platform, I would not do a Mac platform. No, you cannot say that.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be well versed with a lot of technical things, project gadgets. Yes, you must be an artist. Learn some sort of music.
Mm-hmm.
It really helps you
Mm-hmm.
when you're recording music.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just basic communication skills. You should be good at your communication,
Yeah.
and you should know how to keep your head cool,
Mm-hmm.
and you should know how to shut up when it is required,
Yeah.
and not open your mouth and give your advices to other creative people.
Mm-hmm.
Just do your job sometimes.
Mm-hmm. You wouldn't want to tell the sleepless nights which you
Oh
will get into.
yeah, oh yeah, the sleepless nights. Yes, there was once I was doing this one assignment, and apparently my staff, two of my staff just quit. Like, tomorrow onwards, we are not coming. I
Hmm.
said, don't do this. I have taken an assignment. Well, I think so. God wanted to test me in my dedication towards my work. I used to sleep once in 2 days for 4 hours only.
Oh God.
That was
And how long did
This
this happen?
happened for 2 months.
Oh
Two
God.
months. I was on a Red Bull diet,
Mhm.
and I used to sleep at 2 o'clock every day, get up at 5 o'clock, 5 6 o'clock, and once in 2 days. And of course, stress wouldn't allow me to sleep. That was one more thing.
Mhm.
So yes, we sometimes deadlines come up where we cannot say, dude, it's 5 o'clock, I'm going home. No,
Hmm.
we have no clock.
Mhm.
Our clock keeps ticking and it doesn't stop.
Mhm.
So we just move with the hands of the clock.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks, Aditya. Thanks for your
Thank you. Thank
time.
you.
It was great knowing about sound design. Stay tuned for more Audiogyan next week. Till then, bye.